This is an introduction to the infectious agents we'll be talking about in this PowerPoint. First comes bacteria. They come in both forms of autotrophic and heterotrophic. Next come viruses. They're actually lacking in metabolism and are non-living, so they are neither heterotrophic nor autotrophic. And next comes parasites, heterotrophic organisms. The potential consequences of climate change on these infectious agents includes the increased virality of certain pathogens. This means in certain ecosystems, the rate of replication and rate of growth has significantly increased in certain pathogens. Increased parasite growth and replication. Yet again, in certain ecosystems, the increased growth rate and rate of replication has increased for parasites. And also the increased immune response in all organisms in certain ecosystems. However, interestingly, this increased immune response is not to the same degree as the increased virality or increased parasite growth and replication, meaning any edge gained by the increased immune response is negligible. This slide explores how the environment, or more specifically climate change, affects host pathogen interactions. Increasing temperatures have led to drastic variation in pathogen presence throughout different ecosystems. This means that in certain ecosystems, the presence has exponentially increased, while in others, it has drastically decreased. Warming temperatures have also caused entire environments to shift from mutualistic to pathogenic. This means previously environments where organisms existed together, they are now having to feed off of one another and compete for survival.
The Caribbean region is a current hotspot due to the warming-induced pathogens, and it's causing high amounts of coral declines and ecosystem-wide consequences. The picture to the side shows a healthy coral reef, a dying coral reef, and a completely dead coral reef. The keystone species will define an entire ecosystem, and when these ecosystems lose their keystone species, they're forced to radically change. When there's a keystone host present and climate-induced changes happen, they're much bigger and affect the ecosystem much more drastically. Biology is the study of when certain biological events that depend on climate take place. Many species will migrate towards higher elevations due to changes in the climate. When these migrations are longer, it lowers parasite transmission by allowing the host to escape pathogens. Without migration caused by the climate changing, we would see a large increase in the transmission of infection disease. With the climate changing, some parasites will develop earlier hatching stages. This causes exposure to host earlier in the season and during more sensitive life stages. The picture to the side just goes in more detail about the climate change effects on developmental stages.
Consequences for conservation and human health. Climate change is beginning to show the greater effect to the outside environment, and diseases have been shown to arise in environments due to increased temperatures. These changes have been seen to affect ecothermatic hosts and pathogens to the greater extent. Experiencing these changes could lead to poor invertebrate development, shortened lifespans, and bacterial resistance. Main examples of this are respiratory and diarrheal diseases that affect the air humans breathe through their nasal passages, which exposes them to the changed moisture in the air. Chloral is particularly also affecting those with a higher chance of infection because of water contamination. Patterns also, like animals' migration, their time of shedding, and their hatching period, also all are a result of climate change. This is because of the higher temperatures and just the fact that humans are more prone to develop wildlife diseases. Diseases are extremely prominent, but outside factors in society are also experiencing main effects from it. Those in poverty are at a higher risk of developing one of these illnesses as they spend more time outside in the environment and are experiencing climate changes all the time. Cropping, irrigation, and farming is also another societal implication as pesticides and diseases are spreading to the crops. This is because many more crops can produce these factors in higher temperatures with substantial moisture. Methods like forecasting and modeling are helping to resolve some of the issues, however. Forecasting is used to control the timing, strategies, and prediction of crop growth, particularly for farmers. It helps give them tools and assistance to show exactly how to handle these pesticides and prevent them from reoccurring. Modeling is another great way to eliminate the loss of crops that is the issue for farming because of all the pesticides. It is giving farmers a great way to develop new systems and programs for all their crops so that they can survive in all conditions, not just in the ones with lower temperatures.
Mechanistic models and drivers. The theory is better cropping and irrigation styles could lead to a decrease in harmful pesticide use. The prediction is the former states of the ecosystems will be restored and the disease rate will be lowered. Climate change can lead to the migration of some species to different ecosystems, which can lead to the foreign population transferring the disease to the new population. With an increased risk of transmission due to rising temperatures, a slew of other aspects of climate change could be affected.